Hello, ladies. I'm saying ladies because this is for the ladies. We will talk a little bit about the season of singleness for you ladies. But it might apply for a man too. But I cannot pronounce myself on that. It's mainly for the ladies. And we will get vulnerable and raw with each other, and I hope I will get to engage with some of you in the comments. If you have questions, if you have doubts, if you have struggles, mental struggles that you're facing regarding your singleness season, please open up, be vulnerable, and drop them in the chat below so we can encourage one another. And I encourage every single lady watching this to check the comments too. Maybe there's another person who's been through a similar thing as you, and we can share encouragements. This is for the ladies who God has placed marriage on their heart as a godly desire, and you know it's gonna happen. You're just wondering when, how, where, and creating those sort of expectations around that. Maybe you're even, I don't know, you have a prophetic gift, you're even sure of how he's gonna look like, what his job's gonna be, even what his name is gonna be. You know, God can reveal those things to you, I believe that, but you need a lot of discernment here, because I've been there, done that several times, and it was not the one. And I've been there several times, like looking at clues, and it was not the one. And the funny thing about God is he always surprises you, and you always are, it's not you can't predict it, how God is gonna do it. It's just so different for so many different people. But you know, we all know there are some basic, principles, like such as he has to be a born again believer. I don't think I need to like re-explain that. But again, depending on your maturity with God, God would allow you to, there are exceptions. God can allow you to have a different experience than the standard experience, depending on how mature you are with him and how much he can trust you with those exceptions, But if you're not yet mature in the Lord, you cannot expect God to make an exception for you and be like, oh, he's not Christian, but I can convert him. It really depends on your maturity with God and how sure you are of hearing God's voice. Because a lot of times we can misinterpret, I made a video a long time ago, I can link it here. We only prophesy in part. Sometimes you're hearing half of the truth and you're making the other half for yourself because of your wishes and desires, and it's something so silly and so stupid. And one thing I've noticed, just a little side note, before going any further, I want to tell you, be careful with asking for signs. Be very, very careful with that, because the enemy knows signs. The enemy is the master of signs. He can give you so many signs. It's not in God's way to guide you with signs. I've learned that. I'm still learning that. Now it's the most unexpected that feels more like God than signs. For example, like signs. It can be, he has the same car as your dad. He's doing the same job as your dad. Or it's something you always envisioned. he has a similar calling than you. For example, maybe in healing. You just prayed for something and he shows up the next day. The names can be signs. Oh, his name means this, and I know God called me to this, and it's kind of interconnected. All those are signs, and I'm not saying God cannot use them, but careful following them. Learn that from experience. It's not from God. A lot of times it's not from God. What you need to check on is discernment. And I'm just realizing now that I'm switching this video towards how to recognize the one instead of your season of singleness. It's so heavy on my heart. Well, that was a little, bracket. It has to give you peace. It has to give you peace, one of the things. And another thing, you do not chase after him. That's just not from God. If you have to chase after him or convince something, I believe from scripture and from my personal experiences that God speaks first to the man about the woman, and the man is the one God put in them this masculinity, and maybe he is not that strong yet, but with the right woman, if you are the right woman for him, he will have the boldness to ask you out first. And of course, he needs to be sure that you like him too and stuff like that. Like, you cannot just play it cold. But I believe that God gives courage to the men. Anyway, so if he's clearly not interested, just don't even bother. It's not from God. Now, so that was an introduction, long introduction. Your singleness season. What can you do in your singleness season? What's important and how attacks can come. And I want this to be a casual, vulnerable conversation. I wanted to go live to see your real life questions or like live questions, but I'm gonna record this one, and if everything goes well and there are girls here more than boys watching this video, then I can go live another time and we can do a poll on when to go live, when it's best for everyone, and because people are from different continents and stuff and time zones. One thing I wanted to share in this video is the importance in your singleness season, the importance of, however cliche this sounds, the importance of trusting God and not trusting in yourself or your own beauty. And I've made a video about that. Not trusting in your own beauty was a bit raw, unprepared, and I talked about how easy it is if you're a beautiful woman to just trust in your beauty. And wherever you go, however you dress up, and like let those insecurities come if you're not well dressed and there's a nice guy around the corner. And it's so easy to, all of this is putting the attention on you, and as if you had some sort of say in it on seducing something or someone. Yes, you have to be a queen level. Yes, you have to be like Esther. Yes, you have to prepare. Yes, you have to take care of yourself, respect him and you. But there's a fine line in trusting in the Lord and trusting in your own beauty. And when you trust in the Lord, your heart is steady and your heart is at peace, and you are not afraid of losing what's not right for you, and you trust in the Lord that even if you're losing somebody, it's for the good, no matter how cliche as that sounds. God is the one who judges, God gives back, God revindicates, God heals, God is showing you the right way. Just trust and trust and trust, and that faith is actually the currency that will, I'm not saying there's a methodology to receive your blessing. I'm not saying that. Don't twist my words. But obedience is a currency of God's favor, and it's a currency of blessing. Obedience to God, and how you obey God by trusting Him and not making yourself at the center. You obey God when you have no other gods, right? And another God can be, an app or other things that can get you to your husband. Those can be idols, and not trusting God. Now, regarding the timing, there is no simple answer. I've seen one of my closest friends get married so fast after being through huge struggle and loss in her life. God showed her grace by bringing somebody to her so she can go through those challenges with him. But other times, women have waited single for years or decades before he came for them. So I don't think it's something that you've done wrong, aside not trusting God. And not trusting God can manifest in different ways. And in your way of behaving, you're showing that you're chasing, and that gives that gives God a signal that He's not the Lord over your life. And there are so many things to consider. Another thing is that maybe he's not in the right season. Maybe God hasn't prepared him enough yet, enough to recognize you. Because Adam recognized Eve when God woke him up from the sleep. Maybe your Adam is still asleep. Maybe your Adam is still figuring out his purpose. He's not a Boaz yet. He doesn't have land yet. He doesn't have responsibilities in the kingdom yet. He's not a leader in the kingdom yet. And you're not ready to either. And why God is taking His time to prune us and prepare us is because if we don't go through this season of singleness, of being pruned and prepared and formed in His image, we will not recognize each other. In the season of singleness, don't rush it, because God is taking His time to form you, to shape you, to make you in His image, so that when the right man comes and when it's time, because of your pruning and preparation, you will not doubt God's ways anymore. And for example, even if it might be someone that it was not initially your type, you were not naturally attracted to those people, but God knows better what's your future and what you need. So in your season of pruning, He's teaching you that. He's teaching you to trust Him. He's teaching you that He knows better what you need. He's teaching you that what you liked before was toxic for you, even though you were attracted to those types of people. It's because of your traumas. It's because of relationship with parents. You were attracted to unavailable men. It's unemotionally available man, and that's because all of those wounds from the past determined what kind of were sort of filtering and determining what kind of man you want in your life. But it was not what you needed. And you needed to heal from those wounds, from those traumas, so that God can clear your vision and you see the man of God that he's going to place in front of you. And if you don't go through this season of preparation, you're not going to recognize him, because you're still going to have those conceptions and ideals of how he should look like and be like, and his calling and his job. And a lot of times I've noticed God surprises us, and it's not what you think. So he has to, we call this strongholds, mental strongholds that you build around yourself, around your heart, around your mind. He has to demolish those strongholds and renew your mentality, renew your mind, your will, your desires that you want to be in accordance to what and to be calibrated to what he wants. So there's not your will and his will, is just one will, and that's his will alone. This dying to self thing. So that's why it's crucial, because you won't recognize him. And I want to leave you with a verse, because it's getting long and we can continue that. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, so I can know, in a comment, so I can know if I should continue this singleness series, all about girls and singleness and waiting until marriage and all of that, why and how and what, and the fruit of that. I want to leave you with a verse before that. It's Psalms 12, and it summarizes the video. Psalm 112, verse 7 through 8. Her heart is firm, trusting in the Lord. Her heart is steady. She will not be afraid. It will focus. Her heart is firm, trusting in the Lord. Her heart is steady. She will not be afraid. Yeah, that was it, guys, for today's video. You can follow me on Instagram for more advice, and stay connected, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Have a nice weekend.